Welcome back to the Senior Living Show. I'm Vicki Rogers, and with me today is one of our special every week guests that we love. It is Scott Neal, who is the president of D. Scott Neal Incorporated and founder of CaregiverCircle.com. Welcome back, Scott.
Thank you, Vicki. Glad to be here.
I know, we are so happy to have you here. We are talking about records and not the 33 and a half, 33 and a thirds, and 78s. We're talking about electronic records. And should every person have someone in their life that is designated to coordinate your records when you get older? Or how do you make sense of it all? What should we do?
You're stealing all my thunder here, Vicki.
Oh, sorry.
Well, Vicki, when I was in the Army, you know, we had those, and that was a long time ago. When I was in the Army, we would leave one duty station and go to the next duty station, and we would go over to the health clinic, and we would pick up our record, our file folder full of our charts, and we would take that to our new duty station, and that would be how our records were kept in those days. That stands in stark contrast today to the electronic medical records that healthcare providers are encouraged. They're not yet required to do that. Not all healthcare providers are doing that. But they have electronic health records, sometimes referred to as EHR. And so prior to, say, 2009, if you walked into your doctor's office, you probably saw all those charts behind the receptionist, the color-coded files and with the numbers on the end to keep your privacy.
Yes.
And they would pull that off and hand it to the doctor as the doctor took you back to the exam room. Well, nowadays that's all been replaced, for the most part, with electronic health records. If you've been to see the doctor lately, you might have also witnessed that the doctor is sitting over there typing while he or she is conducting the exam. We had one doctor who told us he thought he was the world's most expensive typist, so he hired a scribe to do that type of thing over in the corner. So there are lots of pros and cons to electronic health records, but I think one thing is for certain: they're going to stay with us for a while.
Okay, so isn't it supposed to be a benefit that the hospitals and all the doctors and the pharmacies can all talk together with these records, right?
Well, that's the promise of electronic health records.
Yeah.
It really hasn't worked out quite as well as we might expect. Back when it was first introduced, all these technology companies started branching up and they started building their product and selling that to the healthcare providers. And so one company would sell to one provider and another would sell to another provider. And they never provided really interface to talk to one another. And so, you know, there's even a company nowadays that's designing the platform to bring all these things together. But that it just isn't happening. A few years ago, before my mother died, she had a nephrologist to help her take care of her kidneys. She had a pulmonologist to help take care of her lungs, a cardiologist to take care of her heart, and an internist to kind of coordinate everything together. But guess what? None of the electronic medical records talk to each other. So she engaged me to come over and sit in the corner with my iPhone, and I kept a chart on my iPhone of nearly all of her healthcare visits. And then I would share that with the next doctor that she had. From the healthcare provider's perspective, I once had an ER physician says one of his biggest nightmares is walking into an emergency situation. The patient can't talk to him, and there's nobody else around to give him any information. And so he says valuable time is being lost in the ER just simply because it can't produce the information that he needs. Now, even if you can talk to the physician in the ER, I dare say, I know that I would be stressed out if I were in the emergency room for something, if I could talk. And I probably would forget some of my healthcare details, don't you think? Yes,
so what should we do, Scott?
So I think we need a healthcare coordinator, number one. But I also think that if electronic medical records aren't talking to each other, there's another product called a personal health record that's available online. If you go Google personal health record, you'll get all kinds of hits there. So you find out from your primary healthcare physician what platform he or she is using to provide a portal for you to get into to access your records. And you probably should choose a personal health record that goes along with that. It can feed information there and it can receive information from you. I personally use Microsoft Health Vault. Apple has one. Lots of companies have them, but it's whatever works for you, and use it. Getting information in and keeping it current is another issue.
Okay, what about powers of attorney?
Well, Vicki, I'm glad you asked. Now, be aware that I'm not a lawyer, so I can't give legal advice, but I think everyone, and we advise all of our clients, to have a power of attorney, a healthcare durable power of attorney. A durable power of attorney survives a disability of the one granting the power. And a power of attorney is a permission document, so you're giving someone else permission to speak for you on your behalf should you not be able to, and we think that everyone should have that. So first get a power of attorney, but I also think that it's very important to have what I call a healthcare coordinator. Remember the story that I told you about my mother? I was there taking notes on my iPhone of her healthcare visits. And so I think that person probably should also have your healthcare power of attorney. And it's always advisable to have a backup power of attorney in case that first one isn't available. My brother and I were both powers of attorney for our mother. And it's very important to get the expectation down in, I prefer to have it in writing as to what the expectation that you have of the power. So, of the attorney, in fact. So, it's very important to do that, very important to have the coordinator of your health care to be your power of attorney.
Well, thank you. That's been such great information that everybody needs to know about. And where can folks find out more information?
Come to caregivercircle.com. We talk about things like this.
And we'll be back after this with more on The Senior Living Show.